Welcome to talk number 2, day 2 of Moga Off. I would like to present these wonderful women that are speaking today. Actually, I'll have them present themselves and just you can tell a little bit about yourself, your name, and whatever you do. Whatever you do. Violet, do you want to do Violet?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I work as an artist under the artist name Violet. My name is Inês. I'm from Lisbon. I make music. That's how I started getting into music and culture, but it quickly developed into also other stuff. So I also do radio and helped found a community radio station 10 years ago that's still going, called Radio Quantica. And I run a couple of labels that feature actually lots of women as well. And I've helped also create two projects of I guess, nightlife raves and a lot of things around them. One is Mina, another is Planeta. They are closely tied because one led to the other. So it's also an inclusive venue and an inclusive rave. And yeah, other than that, I just love making music, helping create community, and yeah.
That's enough. My name is Mariana. I am the co-founder of Village Underground Lisboa, which is a cultural space in Lisbon, and also the founder of a music school called Skool, which is an academy that uses non-formal type of education and high-quality education to kids that cannot afford to pay for music education. Actually, for all the kids. And within Skool, I represent also a program which is an incubator to promote women in the rap music that it's called She Raps. And I am also part of the global network called She Said So, which represents it's a platform that has more than 30,000 women around the world helping each other in the music industry. And I think that's it. And I live in Lisbon, and I'm a mother of 3 young kids.
Hi, my name is Martina, and I'm from Finland, and I lived like 20 years in London, and a couple of years ago I moved here to Lisbon. My background is in events management and fashion styling, but then music has been on the background always, like promoting in events, festivals, etc. I worked for Uzuri, record label and booking agency when I was in London, and I moved here, met some incredible women, and decided to start our agency, which is kind of women-led. We are 3 women, based in Lisbon, and then me. Now based in Lisbon. And we basically, over in Uzuri, the main goal was kind of like, of course, the roster was both men and women, but it was very much female-led, owned by Lakuti, an amazing artist, DJ. And she was always all about women, especially from diverse backgrounds. And that is very much our ethos as well, in a way of like supporting women in the business. And we also do artist bookings and events. So we are producing Suncebeat Festival, which is in 3 weeks in Costa de Caparica in Lisbon. And now it's just booking agents, booking artists and running festivals. That's mainly taking all of our time, and developing other collaborations on the side, so we'll see what's going to come.
Hi, my name is Erica. I'm Italian, but I live in Lisbon 8 years now. And here I found my path in music. I'm working in music, I'm like not so long time now. It's 3 years. I just it was really random, and I started to work in an agency. and together with my two ex-partners, we created a party who was called Vupi. And it was an inclusive party where we like try to really have everything concentrated on the vibe. This party like was grew really fast, and so after a while I just like was not really in line with the vision of my partners, and so I decided to open my own agency 1 year ago that is called Succo Agency. And like the work I'm trying to work artists in develop their career. The agency is like pretty led by women, and we are trying also to develop an event for the queer community, and so we're like trying to work more and more on the diversity and inclusion of women and queers in the scene. And yeah, I'm also curator of a place that is called Mona Verde, and I'm helping like creating lineups for also other events and venues. And yeah, this.
Hi, my name is Maggie, aka Megatronic. I've lived in Lisbon now for like 2.5 years. I'm originally from London. I have been in the music industry as a singer-songwriter for 27 years. I think I wrote my first song when I was 17, so you can do the maths. And yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. I've come from being in a 5-piece band to then doing solo to now, I guess, what we'll call an international DJ. And yeah, I've been within this period of the different sort of phrases I've had. I've also done a lot of community work, and I guess that's why I'm here today.
Exactly.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria, I'm Brazilian. I live in Morocco, where I founded a woman collective of DJs. We have this initiative to support more women on the electronic music scene by teaching, mentoring them, and then booking them. So we are aim to be an agency in Morocco one day, so it's very inspiring to see all your work here, and I hope we can bring that to Morocco too, with the girls. So yeah, I have been DJ for 6 years, and I have this background on marketing and advertising before. So happy to be here talking with you as well. And thank you, Anna, for the invitation too, and happy to meet you all.
So we're both going to ask questions, but I'm going to start with one question that I have for all of you. And that's, how did you discover electronic music? And how did you decide to go into that path?
All right, I'll go first. I'll be honest, I started raving. I've got an older sister, I'm the youngest of like 6. My first love was indie music, like Oasis, Blur, guitars, like, because I was in the band, I love that. And my sister started clubbing a lot. And she used to come home, she's like 10 years older than me, she used to come home just off her face. But she always just looked so happy. So when I was like old enough, my curiosity kicked in. And I was 18, and she took me to Camden Palace, which is now called Coco, which is in London. And Baby D, Let Me Be Your Fantasy, was the artist that night. And I swear to God, I had like an epiphany. And that's how it began, this whole journey.
So as I said, like it was like really random. I came from a different background, so it was like I did many things. I work in fashion, I work with social media, and I opened my a business during the pandemic. That it was completely another thing. It was a cafe with a yoga place, and during the pandemic, to try to since it was nothing was as planned. So to try to bring more people to the place, I just started to organize some events. And like after that, I had to come back and do like a normal job, like in with the studio. And so I was like really tired because it was complicated to manage like both of the two, like both manage own projects and working like for 8 hours per day. And so I was like trying to find something that was more close to like myself, and I always been really passionate about music, and it just came like I just found out that I had a lot of connections, and DJ at the time, she was looking for an agent, and so I was just like, okay, maybe this could be like my new project. And I can say that I like met the right people in the right moment, and I had the right ideas at the right moments, and so like everything just happened.
I can say my story is very much similar to Mickey's. I think we're kind of similar generation with the raves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I used to listen to everything. I just love music. Whatever the genre, I was listening to it. But then I also I've always been a bit of an organizer. I loved organizing events and getting involved in things. And I was like saying yes to everything, even though whether I knew what to do or where I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I was 14, very underage. I happened to know these DJs in their 20s who were organizing raves, and I was like, well, you need to make the place pretty. There's another opinion. You need you need to make the place look better and like inviting and sell tickets, and who's going to sell tickets and how you're going to do this and this and this, because they were just men wanting to play music and that's it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do all the rest. So I told my father to drive me to work at 10 p.m. and pick me up at 6 a.m. from the rave at 14. But yeah, that's how it started. I've been somewhat involved, whether professionally or in my private time in music, always doing festivals and everything before it became my profession. And it was a bit like Erica, like it was very random that I kind of saw that they were looking for booking agent at Uzuri, and I was like, never done that job, but it sounds like fun, and it sounds like I have the transferable skills. So I said yes, and that's where it started professionally, kind of like maybe about 4 years. Huh?
I said, and you killed it.
I'm killing it. No, but yes, so yeah, started very young.
Well, for me it was quite simple. I married a DJ. So,
Yeah, I did that too.
But the first time I felt electronic music was in '97 in one of those raves. The last rave of Hypnose in Tamariz, with all the flashes and the fluorescent people and the happy people. And then in 2000, my first Boom Festival was a clear experience that I wanted to be involved within the rave scene and the techno scene. And then I saw my husband, which was just a random DJ playing in the break of the Underworld concert in Coliseu in 2000 and early 2000s. And he was playing along with his friend, really trance, like hard trance in Coliseu dos Recreios, which was not common. So I thought, this is strange and I like it. And since then, I understood that I could do something in the music business because I had a management degree and I wasn't really loving the idea of working a 9-to-5 job. So I started I had good relationships with the press and the journalists and some PR skills. So I started wanting to manage that duo that became Stereo Addiction, a duo of DJs. And from then I also managed a duo of female DJs, Heartbreakers, and from then I moved to London, and from London that's the start of the rest of my life related to music and Village Underground and then Skool and then yeah, everything around music actually.
I would say my first contact with electronic music was, I was growing up at a time when there was a boom of electronic music all over the world, I guess, and Portugal was no exception. So through the radio and compilations, with people that were in the talk right now before us, so some of the Portuguese pioneers of dance music. And I quickly, like many kids in my time, got obsessed with this music and would buy the CDs and know the mixes by heart. But looking back now, it's kind of curious, a curious reflection to make is that I used to look at it very much from the outside looking in. I didn't even think, oh, maybe I could be a DJ. So I was very far from that point when I first got into electronic music, which was fairly early, maybe at 11. And I started going out, so I'm like a true raver as well, so I can relate to that. I started raving at 13, and I started promoting my own parties at 13 as well.
At 13?
13, because there was a club, a local club where I lived, that had like a matinee before the club opened, from 9 till 11, and the kids could propose a party, and I proposed two at the time. One was at my birthday, one was to celebrate summer. It was called Endless Summer after the Scooter song. And 100 people showed up from different schools, and it was dope. We all got drunk on orange juice. And that's when my life started falling apart.
In Brazil, you used to have this kind of... Sorry, you finished?
No, yeah, basically this is the origin story. I just think it's a funny reflection to think that I was like just on the outside, although like maybe I was promoting and doing that side of things, but as an artist, which is the main thing that I am, a raver and an artist. As an artist, I was maybe a bit far from realizing that I too could be an artist, and there was no reason that I couldn't be a DJ or an artist. And I think that has to do with also like just systemic misogyny, more than misogyny, systemic men-centric hegemony, I guess.
Preach.
In Brazil, you used to have these matinees parties too. I started going to the electronic music with 15, maybe. So I think all of us start in this industry as ravers, as attending parties. I think it's the first step to start to be a DJ or a worker in the industry. But listen to you make me curious to understand, in your point of view, what changed from that moment that you are going to the first raves. I guess there is less women playing than now. I want to hear your opinion about that. So what's changed from that time, 2015, 10 years ago, to now, in your opinion, in this scene? So do you see more women, not just as DJ, but working in the backstage of the event, producers, curators, agents? How do you feel about this difference?
It's very, very different. When I saw Paraíso movie, I realized that there were 3 women in the film. If you would do the film right now, there would be like 25 plus 30, I don't know, maybe as much as men. At least, in theory, you could or not decide to interview them, but there are plenty more. And at that time there were 3, maybe there were more, but those were the 3 main characters at the time. So naturally, organically, things evolved, for sure. Music became, and electronic music became much more important in our day-to-day lives as an industry itself. So of course there's more women, but I think part of that is because there's also an ecosystem and platforms like She Said So and more international platforms that got together and do some pretty amazing work in mentoring women to access electronic music and other aspects of the music industry.
I just have to say that in 1988, I was going to parties here in Lisbon, and I was very inspired by Yen. She was younger than me, but she was already a DJ, and I saw how hard of a time she was having, being the only woman, surrounded by a lot of men, and I wanted to be a DJ. And I said, I want to be a DJ. And then someone said to me, a man, women aren't DJs. And that stuck with me. I could have been a DJ, but no, there's no time. I'm too tired.
We need more plumbers anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to say I was lucky for something like Finland has always been very inclusive and very kind of equal kind of in men's and women's rights and everything. So we had, when I started on 14, we had a lot of people, like women, working on the industry, and there was no man ever saying to me in Finland, like, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't be a DJ or producer or promoter. Going to London after that and Paris was a shock because I thought like those would be the open places, and it wasn't. It was very kind of like male-orientated in the industry. And I like there's a huge change, like you said, like there's been a lot more women in the industry, but I think especially on the lineups of festivals and clubs, is still a little bit too much of like tick that one box of inclusion. Or we have one woman, that's good, and the rest is men. And that's just like furious
And sometimes
me.
they're
like,
either the openers,
yeah, exactly.
or they're the sexy DJ that brings
And
a
also
lot of
like
people.
women on the background, like doing productions, doing promotions, doing all of the other jobs. But it seems like women are somehow always on the social media, PR, and marketing role. Like, why is that reserved for the women and the rest more kind of like production, organization is still very, it's not rare, but there's definitely less women and there should be a lot more. We should be pushing the industry inside out.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think for sure, like, it's always more and more, but as she was saying, like, in lineups, like, many times it's just like the token of the female DJ or like the... I also kind of... I mean, I'm like, also me, because I'm also like a promoter, so I always try like to have a balance, but like sometimes it's not easy because I think there's not enough female DJ or like not enough female DJ that have a voice. So I think like for sure we like needs to and I, like also doing my curation, I'm coming to know much more like younger female DJ that they are like about to start. And I think that we need like to work more on like this, like to really work the one that are starting, because there's a lot, but then it's complicated for them to get to another level and to be considered like to play in the bigger show or like to be in the main sets. And in general, like working in the backstage, I think I remember like many times I was in meeting and I was the only woman. And I think we are still not in the rooms where the decisions are taken. So I think also this is like an important point.
So what do you think can be fixed in order for this to change?
I think, like, for example, with DJs, I'm trying, like, really to help them. They are, like, there's a lot of DJs super talented. I just think they are still missing in find a way to awake their personality and, like, to show to the world that they are here. So, like, this for sure. And also, like, in general, I think, on my case, for example, I think it's just like a generational thing. Like most of the owners of clubs and promoters are men. So it's just like, this will change, but we are still not there.
Yeah, I think we are very much on a crossroad. Like there's a lot of young generation coming in where the women will be in those positions, but those rooms are still kind of led by the men, and it's harder for the women to get there. And I would really encourage for younger women to be brave and step into those rooms and challenge the men. Even though it's difficult and you get backlash and you get told off and they get grumpy, okay, fine, let it happen. But like we need to keep on challenging, and like as an agent, I can see still constantly like trying to push my female DJs is a lot harder than getting gigs for my male DJs. And getting the similar fee that men is harder. So it takes double or triple effort to push my women DJs to the same places as the men are and getting paid the same money, even though they are often, if not better, they at least the same level good, technically, musically, selector-wise, but it's just that common thing of like, oh, well, they're just women.
One thing before Violet speaks. When I refer to females, I also refer to female identifying.
Absolutely.
That's quite important also to say.
No, I was just agreeing that there's also a very big problem that sometimes is overlooked, although it's perhaps one of the main problems, which is wage equality, and that's part of a bigger system and it's part of a history of a power relation that is completely skewed and is very visible under capitalism, where we live, where we need money to live. That women in jobs across the board are given less, survival tickets, if you will. I don't want to call it money, but it is money. But at the end of the day, we're less prone to surviving because we just get less money. And I think that's something really important, and that's very telling. And there's another side of the coin. I think the original question was, how has it changed? I mean, we do see a lot more women artists in lineups everywhere. I think we could say that about different sectors of our arts, economy, etc. But like you were saying, I think there is a lot of tokenism. And tokenism, why is it dangerous? Because it disguises something as something that it's really not. So the systemic problem is still there. So basically, even if you put half men, half women, but no woman is involved in decision processes, or the women are getting less paid, or having different treatment, or worse slots, the problem is still there, but there's a commodification of the figure of the women to sanitize whatever brand or promoter wants to put the women there. And I think, when it becomes too much, and it is becoming a bit too much, this idea of representation and blah, 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 and very empty representation, when it gets too much, what it does is it benefits only a bunch of women, normally rich women who are already rich, normally white women, and it's basically not something that will emancipate all women, which is what we're here for. I'm not interested in just emancipating, the DJs or the beautiful DJs, not at all. I'm interested in global emancipation. And I think these ideas of representation are very dangerous because they distract us from a very real and very urgent struggle that should be shared and not gate-kept. So basically that's my main worry with the processes that are happening now, some of them amazing, and I love that there's more stuff happening, and there's more groups and more women thinking together, but I also think we should be very attentive to what is being done, and not to have, I don't know the expression in English, but sand thrown at our eyes so that we believe something has changed, when systemically there's a lot to change. And I think there's a lot to say in that respect also about, not just grassroots movements, they can make a difference, but there's also an institutional role that should not be forgotten. We have, for example, in Portuguese, a Comissão para a Cidadania e Igualdade de Género, which is for gender equality, and we have the law of parity across Europe, and maybe these types of more radical in the sense that they come from the root. These measures should be a bit more widespread and not just maybe for the European Parliament, etc. Maybe this is something that should become an ethical guideline to the way we work, so that we can just work from the ground up and not just paint the roof pink and now everything's fine.
And a very quick note on that as well, always becoming the difficult agent or the difficult DJ to book because we demand also inclusion on the lineup. It's like if my DJ is from diverse background or from the queer community, anything is like, and they want to be in a lineup that has representation and inclusion, and then the lineups get changed like randomly without even asking. And if we ever say anything about that, we always become difficult. It's the difficult DJ, it's the difficult the agent to deal with. It's like, no. It's
crazy
very
how
simple.
women are seen as difficult and competitive when men are the most competitive beings on earth, you know? But somehow people are socialized to just look at these bad perspectives when it's about women. So yeah, totally with you.
I think we all agree that representation is important. It's nice to see some women playing and the minorities playing, so we feel we can also be there one time. And we all agree that a lot of talented women around that are not being booked or not being seen. And sometimes I feel when I try to talk with the players and why we're not hiring women, they say, because I don't know where are them, because I cannot find them. So I don't know if it's a lack of efforts.
No, they're very lazy and they're very lazy. It's a very
okay, I'm
lame
going to do your
answer.
job for you, the list of, but it always comes to me like, I don't know where are them, I cannot find, I just know men. And they end up hiring just their friends for the circle. Yeah, so this brings to me to a question for you, Mariana, because I understand that you are involved if this intersection between community, education, venue management, and I would like to tell about the importance of these pillars on this build gender equality, because you need to educate it and have mentors and help these girls to learn and have this quality that we aim for. But we also need these venues to be open to the beginners, because if they don't play, they don't have experience, so it's kind of tricky. So.
Well, from the venue owner perspective, I did Village Underground, and it was in Village Underground that I launched She Said So back in 2017. And it was a very awkward moment because you were there as well, I think, in that event that I just hired women for the workshops, the conference, the DJing. Everything was about the women, and very few people showed up. And my husband at the time that was working with me said, you should, you know, you don't have to make it all women, you should have invited some male DJs. But I was very focused and very, I knew what I wanted to do, and it was an event for a female. So it didn't work that well, and I realized that, sorry? I realized that maybe not, that it's a fact that we want men, we call them at She Said So, we call them allies. So we want men allies to be with us, to be in the conversation, because as Violet was saying, this is not a struggle on us, it's not about us, it's about the entire world, it's about the ecosystem, it's about human relationships. Of course, men now tend to understand that it's a more rich environment if there's also women playing, if there's also the queers playing and the minorities playing and everyone involved. So from a venue perspective, I was able to book and to make political decisions on booking only women back at the time. I still do it. I run a music school which gives me hope, because I see that I don't have to make much effort to see the girls coming in to the school. So it's like half girls and boys, and I don't make any effort. And within the classroom or the sessions that we organize, I see the young men being vulnerable and being very open to the girls. And there's a relationship between them. Of course, they're young, they're happy, they're energetic, but it's a really healthy environment. So it really gives me hope for the future. Let's see how it goes, but I'm positive now.
Meg, do you want to add anything?
What you just said everything so well. Everybody's talking so good. I mean, I've got a platform, I guess, and it's like a festival, which is in Dubai, which has been going for like, I don't know, 6 years maybe, which all our lineups are only women. And I lived in Dubai before I lived here. So when I was there, I wanted to give something back, because actually the community there was so kind to me. So I built this festival, which Maria knows, called FemFest. And obviously you probably all noticed I'm quite gobby. So I'm in the Middle East and I'm like shouting out about something that I guess the Western world thinks that all women are just covered. That's absolute bullshit. It's nothing like that, actually. There's a very strong women there, and they really want to learn. And that's what I noticed about this same sort of conversation, but in the European space. It's the access to, we live in a very image-based. So if you're a female DJ, it's not just about DJing. It's about like, you're hot, you wear a crop top, like you can sing. There's like so many elements that you have to do. And unfortunately, a lot of women have fell into it. So it makes the girls who don't want to fall into it, bitches, difficult, fucking annoying, all of these words, right? You're like, no, dude, I'm pretty sound, but I just don't want to fucking wear a belly top because I'm not that confident. Or whatever else, and the problem is that we're now stuck in this trap, so I built this festival based on, I don't care what you look like, can you play? Like, that's my main, are you a DJ? And I'll unplug everything, and I'm like, plug it in, and these girls come. And I think the language, as much as we can say the guys, as women, we need to take some responsibility within each other's groups. You said a really great point about the different, like, okay, I'm a black, queer, gay woman, and I'm in my 40s. So I fit so many fucking boxes right now, you know? But the main thing is I'm really good at my job, like really good, right? So good. And that's it. And honestly, yes, to the dog, right? That's what's brought it up more. Because once I realized, okay, yeah, I'm attractive, whatever, and that's something you can use, but I was like, no, I want people to know I'm good. And I think this is what we've got to teach these younger girls coming up. Actually, it's like, no, hone your skill. Don't let somebody, like if something goes wrong with your equipment, know how to sort that. Mm-hmm. Don't be like, oh, where's the tech guy? No, be your tech guy. Like, so when he comes, you're like, no, it's fine, thank you. No, because that steps you apart, man, I'm telling you. And okay, that's it. So I don't even know what I was saying.
In our workshops in Soundsisters, the first lesson is how to plug your equipment, and don't need a man to come to do it for you, it's minimum. But I have another question for you about FemFest. So first is like, why is it still necessary to have this festival's woman lead? And what does this space offer that another festivals mainstream and not woman lead don't?
Firstly, because it's fun. It's so much fun to have that much diversity of girls who don't hate each other. It's wicked. I didn't grow up with loads of girls around me. I grew up being very much a bit of a weirdo and falling out with groups of women. And so it's nice now for me to be in this space with these girls who just kind of got the same, like, we got the same manifestation. We just want to be seen. That's all it is. And we want to be respected for having a skill set. So these girls we book, and one of our big hashtags is boys welcome. And I'm always to like guys, like, do you not want to come and meet a woman in this space? This would be it's a strong woman. This is what you should want. You know, so it's always been about inclusion. So I think that's why it's made it like last. It's very small. You've been to it, Maria played. And we just kept it very grassroots. Like, we get offered a lot of money. There's loads of things like, you guys are girls, this would look good for our brand. And I'm just like, yeah, we're good. We figure it out.
There's a new party in New York that just started. And it's, you have to be, well, if you're a boy and you come to this party, you have to bring a woman. You cannot come in without a woman.
Or female identifying.
Female
Okay.
identifying.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I saw this in Dubai too.
I mean, Dubai's like that. To be honest, the Middle East. You can't be rolling up for fucking 10 Mohammeds. You gotta have some Fatimas with you. There's no vibe there. Which is so interesting, because honestly, growing up in London and the Western world, they just painted this mad picture. And then when I went to the Middle East, I was like, oh, this is kind of like in the beginning stages of all the beautifulness where we are at a level where we can help each other. And actually, the feminism issue in the Middle East to what's happening in Europe are very different. Like, they are miles apart, but not because one's better, just because it's a different template. And I think this is the problem. We look at this as a universal thing. It's not. It's actually one little village at a time, because every village has a different problem. You know, some places have abusive men, some places have, like, daddy complexes. Like, it's just all different strands, yeah? And I think what we do a lot of time with these subjects, we just pile it in, and we're like, yeah, sort it out. And I'm like, no, we've got to do it in little pockets. Like, we work together now. We work together. We've worked together. I've done stuff with you. You ladies I've just met, but I'm sure we'll work together. And it's just that. It's like a big, like, crochet needle, and we're just sewing.
One thing that Violet said that I think is really important is the underlying problem, that, you know, the elephant in the room, and you know, working with festivals, and, you know, you always hear, oh, but we need more women, and sometimes it is hard to find women for the style of festival. I don't know why that is. That's a thing. A lot of women have, I think they've decided that they need to play harder. They need to play techno to get booked in festivals. You know, there's a lot of, like, women who don't want to play techno. They want to play disco, but there's not so much work there. But there is an underlying problem, and how do we fix that? Like, how do we address that? How does that change? Because I don't want to sit here and just say, oh, you know, women don't get booked. I think there has been a big change. I think there has been some positive change in the industry. But yes, there is still an underlying problem. And how is that ever going to change?
I don't know. I hope so. I don't think there's a unifying theory of how we're going to fix this. But definitely, I think definitely what we need to realize is something everyone pretty much has touched here, is that this is a struggle for everyone. So everyone needs to realize that the emancipation of all discriminations, not just women, there's an intersection, there's, you know, accessibility issues, people that can't, you know, go upstairs to go to a club, or there's, you know, race issues very prominently. So there's a shared struggle that we all should be taking part on. I think it's sort of an ethical obligation that we have. It's kind of the rent we pay for living in this world, is trying to make it a better world, leave it a little bit better. So I think there's a lot to say, like I was saying earlier, about grassroots movements, because a lot of big cultural shifts come from the underground and from these sorts of projects. But I also, in my view, I think, you know, the institutions also play a big role in this, and I do think that having policies like quotas or having more education on these issues will help us kind of deepen the knowledge of what we need to, like, achieve a true democracy that is for all. And, you know, because of my political inclinations, I think this also has a lot to do with capitalism and how it tends to commodify everything that it can take some profit out of. And like I was saying, it not only hinders the women's struggle and a lot of different struggles all around the world, it actually stalls them and keeps them from actually coming into fruition, because it comes from a place of sedimentation, crystallization, leaving stuff as it is, so that the same group of, you know, economic groups and enterprises and families can, you know, hold the capital. And I think that's impossible to dissociate from a wider struggle of liberation all around the world. So I think that we need to be working on many different fronts, from the underground to the institutions to education. I think education is very important, education and culture, and maybe, you know, for example, something that is defended by some informal groups for culture in Portugal is like the existence of a public service of culture, and that public service would obviously respond to the law of parity and to other laws of inclusion. So that could also, help set the tone for what is going on right now. But I think, at the end of the day, it's also about like destroying or at least dismantling, or at least being very frontally against the hegemonic powers that do things one way, and you can only do it this way, and to maybe deconstruct that and work with a lot of love for everyone, and not atomize identities, which I think is also really, really dangerous. At the end of the day, I think this whole pinkwashing issue has to do with a very neoliberal way of thinking that atomizes people and divides them into groups so that they think, my identity is the one that needs to be, held before, need to be pushed. And maybe we need to realize there's a shared struggle between a lot of different things, and that, maybe looking at that will help us look out for each other instead of just looking at our own group of colleagues, if you will.
I'll add something really super simple, but like a lot of the political, cultural, social changes and liberation has always started from the underground. Like underground movement, underground raves, it's always been that kind of space of liberation. But now it's very much the same, copy-paste everywhere. And it's just like getting also a little bit back into the roots of like, we came here to push the boundaries and not just look the same and be the same and play the same and listen the same.
Template.
Exactly.
The template is wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's...
And what you also said about the like women DJs feeling like they just need to play hard and techno in order to be booked. I think that's very, very much kind of like not only Portugal, but very Portugal kind of issue, because the more west or like you go, the soul and everything else is much more there, and those female DJs get booked a lot. Here is very still kind of in that can I say techno movement is again simplified, but still like I think that needs to be pushed, and women need to be encouraged to express what they want to express rather than just sticking to the
script
that is
expected.
When they know
real.
that they get booked and that's it,
Yeah,
not challenging it.
I mean, I just had a conversation with a really big DJ where she went to play for this festival, and it was a very white festival, and she felt like she couldn't really express herself the way she wanted to, because she felt that they wouldn't understand her. They wouldn't understand her language. And I think that's real. I mean, unfortunately, people go sometimes to parties that they just want to take selfies and, and they forget what actually is happening up there. And yeah, it's important, I think, for you to stay true to who you are, even when you do play those gigs that you don't want to play. You're getting paid.
Totally. But it is very true. Like it's kind of forbidden for many women to just be themselves, whereas men are socialized to be accepted in whatever takes they have, and if they're a bit more aggressive, it's because they know what they're doing or they know what they're saying, and it's true. Just being ourselves is a struggle, and it
needs a lot of courage.
We are pushed into being stuff that sometimes we don't want to, like playing harder or playing or putting some look or doing a facial like surgery, or these pressures that are put on women that should not be put on women. If you want to do any of these, it's fine, zero judgment, but this shouldn't be a gateway into being accepted. Mainly also because even having access to this it's a huge class divide. So you're leaving a lot of poor women behind just by putting these, you have to look beautiful and you have to know the right people and you have to know the right songs and the right DJs, and maybe you're from a very underground place, maybe you're from a poor neighborhood, maybe you listen to music that is not on the radio, but maybe you're mega talented and your voice should absolutely be heard. And that's why I insist a bit on the institutional side of things, because there's stuff that the powers could really help us deal with. There's only so much. And we all know it very damn well. There's only so much independent venues and associations and non-profits. There's only so much we can do. Our power and our resources are limited.
I think this is the importance of the diversity, right? If you promote diversity of gender of music and also people playing, you're going to have more styles and things are going to start to be different and not be like locked in that box. You need to play this to play here. But then you talk about the public. Sometimes the public just come to take a picture. So I feel that is something like tricky here because it's a business, it's an industry. We are talking about money as well. So of course the festival needs to have their profits and the public need to like and come. So how can we fix that about, okay, some public just want to come to take pictures and enjoy the same set and you put 10 DJs playing the same gender and nobody wants to come and listen to diversity. So how can it be fixed?
I'm going to jump in here because I play them gigs where people film. And I've got a good theory about this. It's not the most comfortable thing, but with that, I have been seen a lot more. So it's a catch-22. You know, I can play them gigs where I'm playing the music that everyone thinks is cool, but not many people come out to that shit. Because what's happening right now is the industry's changing. People don't want to be in dark spaces now. People want to be on the beach, and this is the rise of the beach festivals. Now, with that kind of sort of visibility, you have to do some other jobs first before you get booked for that sort of style. It takes work. And I think this is the one thing that I'll say. I don't think this is a male or female thing or that the world of music's got bad. I just think we're in a space where people that never used to enter clubs can come and pay £10,000, sit on a table, and that's their form of enjoyment. And I think instead of us hating it, we just surrender that space to them and we create another space over here. Like, as long as the music is still going, let's keep it going. You know? So I get, like, there's been so much talk about this, and there's some DJs I work with a lot who get accused for all of this more than anybody else. But at the end of the day, if you get filmed and you get tagged, you enjoy it and you repost it. So there's a very thin line. One that is helping rise the visibility of women DJs. Like Peggy Goo would have never got, as I say, how did she do it? She would have never got there without social media. So it's deep. And there's a way to come out of it. We just got to get better videographers in the world. iPhone technology is next level, and we just need people that can film better. And so there's just one video that everyone can have. It's getting there, but we have to accept that we're here, and just and be with it.
Anna, I am so sorry. I have to leave. I told
bye.
you sorry. I have to go and pick up the kids. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I have to leave.
Thank you for coming.
No, thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for being here. Sorry.
I wanted to say something on this because I think it's important. I think that most of the girls, when they are not still a big level, they are really afraid to say no when it's not the right gig, when it's not the right time. I receive a lot of bookings for female DJs, but most of the time is for the warm up, or is not for the right party or for the right events. So I think it's also important. Men has no issue to say no when it's not the right thing, and girls they have. So I think it's for sure our job, to try to put the artist in the right spots for her to show what she can do. Yep. Because in that way, it's then it's happening. Because if you just say, because we want to play, and they always play in a warm up, where like they are not able to show what they are, who they are.
There's a big problem with slots
But I
and
think it's
fees.
this. Like I think
Slots and fees.
I think
SNF.
it's a big issue. Like for example, if they offer like for her to play in a techno party for like, I mean, no. It's like for sure it's a no because it's it's not good for. So I like trying and I'm struggling like many times. I understand because at the beginning it's not easy because there's also money involved and they need the money to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to get to another level, to like start to take your place.
Like for
basically.
example,
Sadly, they get punished as well. Like if they don't take that slot and they say like,
this is
no,
what I was about to
they
say.
need this one, and we want to be on this level. Well, then they're not booked again because again we are difficult.
I think we need to unionize, collectively. And unions, pay attention to this. Unions are part of the collective struggle of getting fair wages and getting equal wages. So maybe that's also another answer, because I think it's a very like free market type thing when it comes to. It pains me to say this, but it is. It's a very liberal free market, the market of DJing. So it's a bit anything goes, and it's very speculative, and I think maybe we need structures that really frontally say no to this and say that this is not okay and that this is a replication of savage capitalism and savage men-centric hegemonic culture, which is at the end of the day is not what we want, right? No one wants to just have mainstream commercial festivals. They have their place, they exist. Apparently we can do nothing about them, but there can be other stuff,
But I have to say that, like for example, DJ Minx, she worked really hard. DJ Minx, Minx. She worked very hard in a male-dominated in the early, beginning of Detroit sound, and when I remember Disc Women invited her to play, she said, I don't want to play with just women. I've worked very hard to be there with the boys, and I want to be there with the boys because I'm just as good.
It's one way of putting it, but I totally get it. But I think the only thing that's missing in that take is that she wants her and everyone else as well, every woman. Because at first when the feminist struggle reached electronic music a bit more, there was a lot of that, like, oh, I'm really proud because I was the only woman playing in the middle of all these men. I mean, great for you, but this is not an individual project.
Yeah.
So I totally get the sentiment. I can relate to the sentiment, but I think there's more to that. And most of history, most nights were all men. So I think it's perfectly fine that there's some nights that are all women, although it's not something I do or not something I actively try to have a women-only night. It's not something on my mind right now. But I think it's just as valid, just to add a little bit to the take, although I totally feel what she is saying, but I think...
I mean, I've done a night with all women.
Yeah.
No, it was actually in New York, and I had a man open, and I got shit for it. I have to say.
What? Sorry.
I got shit for it for
You
having.
did?
Yeah, for having
Of course you did.
two female headliners and one male opener, and everyone asked me
When
why.
was this?
Sometimes they need to
This was in New York when I was doing Good Room.
Like
I had
10 years ago?
Aurora Halal with Zozar, and I had a local man DJ.
Two amazing artists.
Two amazing artists. And
I
everybody-
mean, no one would bat an eyelid if they were men.
Yeah,
So
and-
that's
and
why I
it-
say
yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with all women lineups.
So-
Although I prefer a very, very inclusive collective thing where we're all dancing under one roof and everyone feels included.
Exactly.
But I don't think there should never be anything to be said about all women lineups, because most of history there were all men lineups and no one bat an eyelid.
I mean, I didn't do it on purpose. I just did it.
Maggie told in her event in Dubai, she put hashtag men welcome. It's crazy. Boss welcome. It's crazy.
There was loads of guys on the dance floor, And our partners are boys. Sun-Kiss crew, who give us the space, they're all lads. And it's nice. Like, there's ways to do it. I get what you're saying, but it's deeper than that. Because the thing is, when people see all-girl lineups, they're like, oh, it's only going to be girls at the party. No. That's where it goes wrong. That's where you're like, no, guys need to be here. Yeah, and that's what we've always done, and it's worked. Like, Marie, you played. Did you see all the boys? It was great. Everyone was having a great time. Because we make it a safe space. That's it. It's like, no, we're not here to be like, we hate men. No, we love you. We just think you're a bit dumb. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? It's so simple. That's it.
Just behave. Just behave. Yeah, but it's fun.
It's a good filter because at the end of the day, only like mostly non-toxic men would come to a women-only party. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun because when you do the parties just women play in Morocco too, the guys are like, oh, this is a party just for girls, we cannot go. But when there is a lineup full of men, the girls don't say we cannot go, you know. They need the money from the women who go there and pay as well, so why not put us to play?
So what have been like very like what's the word? A big turning point in your career as a woman? A positive one.
Yeah, I guess, let me think about this. There's been a few, actually. I think when I used to be in a band, when we got booked for Glastonbury, that was like a big one for me. Yeah, and then when I started doing solo stuff, like putting out a vinyl last year, which like from start to finish was all me. You know, and then I think just some of the gigs this year, like we did DC10. Like, Erica's my agent, FYI. And we just did DC10 and like a load of other amazing gigs. So I think I think the thing is you have to step into it. You finished texting. No, she asked me the question. Sorry. It's okay. I just think when you start to realize that you're kind of good, I think you should really step into it. I think that's the only thing with women that I see. We just kind of like, still nervous, still ask everybody, what do you think I should play? Like, what's the party vibe? And I think you just got to get to a point where you're like, psh. Like, literally, that's my sound effect. I'm like, turn up, I look at the crowd. I'm like, the guy before me is playing tech house. I'm like, I ain't playing tech house. I'm not going to follow you.
So what's the highlight?
The highlight is doing what you want. In these spaces, there's been many moments. I think meeting you was... No, I'm joking. I just said them. You weren't listening because you was texting.
I think for sure, like when I decided to open my agency, that like actually I was not really like, I just decided, okay, I will do this, and I was really scared. And like everything just happened, like I didn't even had the time to think about it. But I remember like someone told me, like I will not mention, but like someone told me like, for sure, like you will keep working in Lisbon, you will keep working in Portugal, but music industry is something different, and you will never like work international or like yeah. And yeah, there's nothing to say, I think.
How about you, Martina? What's been your highlight?
Very much the same as Erica just said. Literally starting our agency with my two friends, women only, and it happened really quickly. I mean, we had time to think about it. We kind of planned very well, but it was scary, definitely, and we were straight away going with the international roster to the international market. Of course, having worked in another agency really helped me. I had the contacts and I had the experience, but like, what was amazing is like, even if I say so myself, we had an incredible roster. And a lot of like legendary diggers and men from around the world who have complete absolute faith in us. And it's been amazing, it's been emotional, it's been ridiculously hard work. And like she said, like always when I see you, you've never eaten or slept, because it's not part of my picture of the day anymore. No, it has to be. But like, it's hard work, it's a lot of catch-22s, like you need to hire help, but you can't, but you're so busy. But it's fine. But like the highlight has been like being brave enough to start this, having faith in ourselves, and really pushing it and realizing like how amazing feedback we get. And
Both of you are, you're both killing it.
yeah, it's and getting the support from men as well, like having them support our back and be like, nah, we want to work with women and women to represent us. Like, it's been.
That's a very positive thing.
In my case, it's very much a continuation of what's been said here, which leads me to a reflection, which is when we do things differently than the status quo and we apply a different set of rules, it works better for, you know, a group of people that is oppressed, because we're changing the framework, which is what we need. But to me, it was the same. Like starting my label Naive was. I mean, I can't pinpoint if that's what changed everything for me, but that's when things changed for me chronologically. Starting my own independent label, focused on releasing good music and focusing on spotlighting artists that don't get much attention for this or that reason, be it because they're women, be it because they're from the global south, be it because they're trans. And it coincided with my biggest record as well so far, which I put on my label, partly because I had sent to a few other labels that didn't want it. And it was good to have this realization that I knew these tracks had something in them. And I started a label mainly to have an outlet for them. And because I thought, you know, maybe because I'm someone that likes to help people whatever way I can, maybe starting a label is a good idea. I love music. I'm not necessarily a music historian, but I'm very geeky with music, and I can get very geeky with music, and labels are something that I really always kind of wondered about. And starting a label and doing things in a different way and paying the artists not the normal, you know, whatever ridiculous percentage that major labels do to your artists, but doing like a fair split. In the beginning of the label, before the pandemic, we even did like a bigger split to the artists than to the label. Then we started doing 50-50 because things were really hard, and under capitalism there's only so much you can do. But the label really changed my life, and it's funny because it was me who picked the record that would make me start touring. So I didn't need anyone to decide this is the good record. I'm the man, and I know, and I'm gatekeeping, you know, quality, and I'm gatekeeping, you know, what is good. I was able, and I know all of us would be able to pick out what's good, and it was such a moment for me to validate that I too have a say. And it's not just me. Everyone has a say.
Just about believing in yourself.
Yeah, totally. But it's really funny because all our inflection points were our own projects. Yeah. So the message here is we need to get out of the status quo, because the status quo is doing nothing for us. And when it tries to pretend it does something for us, it actually hinders our growth because it's commodifying us and putting us in boxes. So yeah, good reflection.
All right, we're good. Thanks, ladies.